Hi guys, so we're going to talk about different chemical names and symbols that you might see in this class. You'll just need your notes, which is your pen and paper. We're going to talk about different parts of chemical symbols as well as states of matter. So if we have a single element, they're 1 to 3 letters, and each of them start with a capital letter. So I know sometimes students have a tendency to write all their letters in capitalized or all their letters lowercase. You need to make sure that you write your capital letters just like you learned in elementary school. For example, some students write this as capital N. Make sure it's a capital N that you learned, again, back in elementary school. These are taken from the periodic table, and it's a good idea to start to know the different chemical names and their symbols, for each of the elements, and you can use Table S to help you out with that. So some examples, Cu, so capital C, lowercase u, that's copper. Zn is zinc, H2 is hydrogen, and C with a lowercase o is cobalt. I want to make a quick little note about hydrogen. There's some elements that actually exist as two of them combined. So really what this is, it's an H and another H combined. And we'll talk about those a little later on. So parts of chemical symbols in terms of compounds, they're composed of more than one element, so you should have more than one capital letter in here. And some examples are CuO, which is copper oxide. We have Na2SO4, that's sodium sulfate. So I want to make a little note here about these numbers. That number is telling you that you have 2 sodiums in this case, or 2 Nas. The number here is telling you that you have 4 oxygens. Since there's no number listed there under, with sulfur, it's an imaginary 1, so you know you only have 1 sulfur. Back up here with copper oxide, it's essentially written like, or it's essentially thought of as this, Cu1O1, but the 1 is an imaginary number that's, you don't have to write in there, and you won't see it in there. The third one here is Cu, and then parentheses, NO3, and parentheses outside of it would be a 2. This is copper nitrate. So you're shown that we have 1 copper, and that there's this nitrate, NO3. Well, in this case, you actually end up having 2 NO3s combined with this copper. So there's essentially 2 bonds with that. And we'll talk a little bit more in depth with that a little later on. I wanted to put this last one here for you as another example. Again, some students tend to capitalize or not capitalize some letters. We have CO and CO here. Well, this is capital C, lowercase o. That stands for cobalt, which is one of the elements from the periodic table. And we have capital C, capital O. So that is carbon, and that O is oxygen. So make sure that you write CO differently than that CO. All right? And just a quick show you right there, there are 3 oxygens with that, the carbonate, and two sets of them. So essentially you have cobalt and 2 CO3s combined with them. All right? Different states of matter. Notice that these are subscripts. They're smaller, they're lower, they kind of are in line with any of the little numbers as well. So S is solid, L is liquid, G is gas, and the AQ stands for aqueous. You're going to be using that a lot in this class, so make sure that you know how to use it and spell it. It's AQUEOUS. And that means that it's been mixed with water, so it's essentially dissolved in there. It's a homogeneous substance. So if you do see aqueous, again, homogeneous, it's something that's been dissolved in water. Again, that AQU, you might learn in Spanish or French, aqua. It stands for water. Okay, to summarize, elements have to start with a capital letter. Compounds have more than one element in there. The parentheses and the numbers indicate how many of each atom that you have. And the states of matter are also subscripts in there. Have a great day, guys.